I want to talk about a technique that's made my vocal mixes so much better than they used to be, and it works on any vocal, like male or female, any genre. So let's get into it. So let's say I have a vocal in a mix and it's not cutting through enough. It's just not sitting on top of the mix in the way I want it to.
Babe, you've been good this year, I have to say. So I might fly you down to Santa Fe. Unwind while we listen to Sade. Baby, oh baby.
By the way, this is a dope song I got to mix for this artist named Taka. The song is out, so I'll link it on Spotify down below, and you can go save it and listen to it on Spotify if you want it. But in this example, the vocal's just not cutting through enough.
Babe, you've been good this year, I have to say.
So the rational thing to think is, oh, I just need to even out the words a little bit more with a compressor. So I'll just put one compressor on it and call it a day. But it actually turns out your vocal mixes will sound way better if you compress in 2 different stages. So for the first stage, let's just look at one part of the vocal.
Unwind while we listen to Sade, baby.
So the goal of the first stage is gonna be to isolate any spiky transients. Like you can see this one point is up at like minus 12 decibels loud. We wanna isolate spikes that are too loud and get rid of them without affecting the rest of the vocal. If we look at the other parts of the vocal,
Babe, you've been good this year, I have to say.
and if we analyze this, you can see most of these words are peaking at like minus 16 at the loudest, minus 20 decibels. So most of it's around that range. But in some of the other parts of the vocal, there are spikes like the one I showed you that are up to like minus 12 decibels. So those come through the mix, while these quieter words are not coming through the mix enough. So for this stage 1 compressor, we want to use some very specific settings to only catch those spiky transients. So I'm going to put this on a punch setting. I want the attack all the way down, and I want a pretty quick release. I mean, it depends on your song, but I think around 70 milliseconds is good for this song. We want look ahead time so I can see those spiky transients coming in advance. I don't want hold, I want a high ratio, and I want a hard knee so the compression happens immediately. And let's listen to one of those spiky transients and dial in the threshold.
Baby, 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 baby.
Now if we listen to the full vocal,
Babe, you've been good this
you can notice it's not
year, I have
adding
to say.
too much compression,
So I might fly you down to
but any
Santa Fe.
spiky transients that come up, it catches.
While we listen to Sade.
So the goal of stage 1 is not to affect the body of the words, but just to reduce any spiky transients. If I turn the compressor off again,
Baby,
again, you can see that spike around like minus 12 decibels. Then if I turn the compressor on,
baby,
that spike is getting reduced, but the rest of the word is not. So then we want to add another compressor after that first one, and the goal of this second stage of compressing is just evening out the body of the words.
babe, you've been good
So to do this, I kind of want a smoother vintage mode.
might fly you down
We want to increase the attack a bit. We can have a slower release than before. We can have a softer knee. Let me start dialing in this threshold.
Babe, you've been good this year, I have to say. So I might fly you
Add some
down
makeup
to
gain.
Santa Fe. Unwind while we listen to Sade, babe.
So it's much smoother compression, just evening out the body. So it's this 1-2 combo, the first compressor reducing those spikes, and the second compressor evening out the body, that's gonna help our vocal sit at the front of the mix while still sounding natural and not overly compressed.
Babe, you've been good this year, I have to say. So I might fly you down to Santa Fe. Unwind while we listen to Sade, baby, oh baby.
Also, I wanna mention I'm giving away 10 full scholarships to my mixing academy, and the application submissions are closing really soon. It just takes like a couple minutes to apply, so go do that if you haven't already, if you want a chance to get a scholarship to the Mixing Academy. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.